we are back. This time with a long one. Ancient Rome in 20 minutes, recommended to me by Safari Mukaadji. Like a couple months ago, actually. I've had it open on a tab for a long time. I just haven't reacted to it. So we're gonna get this done with. Now, I did see something when I was looking for the video. Historians reacted to this. History teachers. I don't know jack shit. I'm just chaoskingd. So let's see how uninformed I actually am.
Here are the letters the Romans gave us. And here are the countries whose languages derive from Latin. Today they cover half the world.
Yeah.
As for the ancient Romans, the boundaries of their state encompassed their entire civilization. The Roman peace, or Pax Romana, serves as the first example of globalization. Let's take a walk across 12 centuries.
I like how fast-paced this is.
And yes, those numerals are also a Roman legacy.
X is 10, V is 5. I know that.
What is Rome? A city on 7 hills, capital of Italy. But that is today. And 2,000 years ago, there it is.
Damn.
Another 1,000 years ago, there. A tiny tribal settlement of the Latins by the river Tiber. How did this manage to conquer the world? First, it was lucky.
That's not that surprising.
To the north, the Etruscans of modern Tuscany, a mysterious people whose language has never been fully deciphered. To the south, Greek colonies. These peoples all traded with each other. It was at the crossroads of their trade routes that Rome appeared. From the very start, Rome has been an open city, a safe haven for outcasts, murderers, runaway slaves. Rome offered migrants a unique opportunity to become fully fledged citizens. This will make Rome the largest metropolitan city of the ancient world. The Romans themselves believed they were descendants of refugees from the Middle East who had survived the Trojan War. Romulus and Remus were the great-grandchildren of the Trojan hero Aeneas. Nursed by an Italian she-wolf, the brothers quarreled where to site the future world capital. Romulus killed Remus, gave his name to the city, and became its first ruler. As legend has it, there were 7 kings, each of which enjoyed a lengthy reign and left some beneficial legacy. A calendar, a sewer system, or the Capitolium, a temple to the senior god Jupiter. Much of what the Romans later became famous for, aqueducts, bridges, perhaps even the gladiatorial games, were borrowed from the Etruscans. This people invented the
bridges? I have actually never heard that
Greek letters for their own needs. It's not surprising that their last kings were Etruscan. Rome borrowed her military and government organization from them, while maintaining her stern, patriarchal simplicity. In 509, Rome was shaken by a sex scandal. The son of King Tarquin the Proud raped the chaste Lucretia. Tarquin was expelled, making him the last king of Rome.
Damn. He got though. Good for him.
The Romans decided to prevent any such concentration of power ever again. From 509 onwards, they elected 2 consuls to serve a year apiece, instead of a monarch. The consuls were controlled by the Senate. This consisted of 300 fathers, patres in Latin, hence the term patricians. Those not so lucky to be born into the right families joined the plebs. Even if they were as rich as patricians, they were not entitled to take
I did not know
in the state.
what they actually called plebs.
It is in the 200-year struggle for these rights that the Republic, literally meaning public thing, will be formed. The plebeians would make up the backbone of the army, and to have their own way, they would threaten the fledgling state with emigration to a neighboring hill. Each time, the scared patricians caved in, introducing, for instance, the special position of a representative, or tribune of the plebeians. These had the right to veto any decisions of the consuls. One of the main achievements of the struggle was the publication of the first written laws. By 287 BC, the plebeians had achieved complete equality of rights with the patricians. The unity of Rome found its best expression in the formula Senatus Populusque Romanus, the Senate and the Roman people, which still adorns the manhole covers in Rome.
Why does this sound like Star Wars? I know it's not, but I guess it was.
In 390
It may have been
BC,
based
history of
off
Rome could have come to an end. The city was unexpectedly taken by the Gauls. The guard dogs had sensed no danger, for which they would be crucified every year since. Geese awoke
That's a
the
shame.
last protectors of the Capitoline Hill fortress instead,
My dogs don't hear
saving Rome
shit.
from complete destruction.
He's always
The
asleep.
shaken Romans conducted a military reform. The Roman legion was divided into manipuli, making it more mobile in battle. The Roman army spent the next 100 years in constant wars. Instead of simply imposing a tribute on the conquered, the Romans would enter into a treaty of alliance with them, and the loyal allies supply Rome with a never-ending stream of recruits. Thanks to this, the Roman legions were able to stand their ground in battle with the most efficient fighting force of the time, the all-conquering Macedonian phalanx, led by Pyrrhus, a relative of Alexander the Great.
I've heard that
The
name.
last stronghold of resistance in Italy, the Greek city of Tarentum, then hired the most costly and celebrated contemporary warlord of the time to defend against Roman expansion. Having conquered Tarentum and reached Sicily, Rome now had to take on a much more dangerous adversary, Carthage, lord of the Mediterranean. The Romans called the Phoenicians of Carthage Punics, hence the Punic Wars, over the next 100 years. In 149 BC, Rome had taken the greater part of Punic territory and that of their allies, but after each defeat, the trading power of Carthage would rapidly recover. Senator Cato the Elder began to finish every speech with the same refrain: Carthage must be destroyed, and so it was done. The city was wiped out, all of its population was enslaved, allegedly plowing salt into the earth as an eternal curse.
That's salty.
Also in 146 BC, the Romans wiped out another city, Corinth, making Greece and Macedonia Roman provinces. Rome appropriated the colossal riches of the disintegrating empire of Alexander, but the patriarchal simplicity of Rome succumbed to the sophisticated Greek culture. Greek became, in effect, a second state language. The
So
Roman
they stole
nobility
Greece.
busied itself learning new words, hexameter, history, rhetoric. Cicero, the most famed orator of Rome, would come to
Cicero.
model his speeches on those of the Greek Demosthenes. However, across this immense territory, full rights were only afforded to the Romans themselves. Even other Italians, the majority of the military, had no citizenship rights. These would demand equality, declare war, and win the right to take part in managing the state.
I think the best part about this
was a
video
total game
is how
changer.
fast-paced
While
it
ancient
is.
Greece remained a collection of squabbling
And it's constantly giving
city-states,
you
Rome
video
gradually extended
information.
citizenship rights to the conquered, laying down the basis for an
It's
empire.
not draining, you know? Great job. Person who made this
Having
who I'll see
conquered half
once I'm
the
done.
world, Rome fell victim
Watching
to
this.
globalization. Cheap grain and an inflow of unpaid slave labor bankrupted the small farmers. These rushed into the cities and joined the ranks of the proletariat, those who have nothing to lose except their own offspring. At the same time, the rich grew 100 times richer, having bought land from the ruined peasants for a song. Previously united, the Senate and the Roman people split into two hostile camps. The tribunes of the people, the Gracchi brothers, would try to reconcile them. They proposed granting excess public lands to the impoverished peasants and suggested free distributions of bread to the poor.
Free?
The disgruntled
I don't
senators
know
decided
about
to
that.
suppress the Gracchi movement by force, killing the brothers and
Hey,
several
I figured.
thousand of their allies.
The second he said free,
Rome was gripped by civil wars. Social mobility for the proletariat was offered by Gaius Marius, a popular general. He began enrolling the proletariat into the army with a promise of a grant of land at the end of service.
why his
This would
statue
make
have a
the
droopy
legions
eyebrow?
personally devoted to their generals. In 49 BC, two outstanding generals fought over Rome. Gnaeus Pompeius had won the eastern provinces for Rome,
Pompeius.
including restless Judea,
I've heard the name.
cleared the Mediterranean of piracy, defeated Spartacus' slave revolt, and justifiably added the title Great to his
You
name.
say Spartacus?
Gaius
That's
Julius
probably why-
Caesar
that's probably why I
had
heard it.
conquered Gaul. Nowadays, they would call it genocide. He
Oh,
butchered a
Julius.
billion Gauls and enslaved as many more. He went on to defeat the Germans and then invaded Britain. According to the law, a general had to dismiss his legions before returning to Rome, and in return have his moment of glory, a triumphal entry into the capital to the applause of the citizens.
Understandable.
Caesar performed a hitherto unseen maneuver. He refused to submit to the Senate, and having crossed the Italian border, the river Rubicon, marched his legions to Rome.
Okay.
It would take him several years to defeat Pompey the Great and his other rivals, pitting Roman legions against each other. In the process, Caesar annexed
Imagine going to war with the world
and gave Cleopatra
and with your own
After a
team.
romantic cruise along the Nile, she would give birth to Caesarion, or Little Caesar. On his
Little
return, Caesar would add Imperator or Emperor to his name, title originally meaning victorious commander, and gain control of all political positions, consul, tribune of the people, and dictator. Rumors spread that Caesar wanted to declare himself king. Conspiracy was brewing in the Senate, and Caesar was assassinated. Caesar left his wealth, quite unexpectedly for all concerned, to his grandnephew, 19-year-old Gaius Octavius.
Oh.
This Octavian immediately
I thought he was
joined
going to say
in the power struggle.
Maximus
In
Decimus
31
Meridius.
BC, he defeated his last rival, the warlord Mark Antony, who likewise had an affair with Cleopatra. The lovers would take their own lives. Octavian was left sole ruler of a vast territory.
Damn. Cleopatra like J-Lo then.
Julius Caesar ruled for 4 years. Octavian,
Mark
assuming the title
Antony.
Augustus, meaning the Venerable or the Great, ruled for an
worst
endless
Batman.
43 years.
Damn, that's a
He
long
didn't
time.
formally abolish the Republic. He simply took control of all possible positions, making his power almost absolute. But he modestly called himself Princeps, the first senator. And even though skirmishes with barbarians continued along the
watching
borders,
this,
inside them, the
I
period
really
of
see
Pax
where
Romana
Star Wars
set
got
in, a
everything
period of
from
peace
now.
and stability that was to last
I can
200
see it
years.
now.
The empire experienced an economic upswing.
Palpatine wasn't that
Distributed
smart.
For free to 200,000
He stole
people.
his plans.
On Augustus' orders, a 500-meter basin was dug at the very center of the capital, where 3,000 gladiators mimicked sea battles on real seagoing vessels. In Rome, construction was
Ahead of their time.
Concrete and multi-story districts were growing. Augustus had to introduce height regulations, limiting skyscrapers to 6 floors. And still the
So
citizens
my
were
dumb
unhappy.
ass was like,
They
you
complained
can't
about
have
traffic
people over
jams,
6 feet
pollution
here.
of the waters of the Tiber, and high rents. The golden century of poetry dawned. Maecenas, a quasi-minister of culture, allocated special grants to praise the value of the state. Temples would be built in the honor of Augustus, and even a month was named after him. Thus, the cult of the Roman
Which month?
emperors was emerging. They would come
Oh,
to be venerated
August?
alongside Mars and Jupiter.
So it was July, Julius? Huh?
After Augustus' power became hereditary, the senatorial opposition has left us vivid portraits of the first emperor.
Hero.
Suspicious Tiberius unleashed terror under the pretext of the law on treason. Under this law, any action could be deemed offensive. It was enough not to sufficiently praise the emperor or pay at a brothel with coins bearing his portrait. In distant Judea,
I'd be dead real
preacher,
quick.
refusing to worship the emperor as God, was crucified. Caligula
Okay.
wanted to make his horse a consul. A scholar and gourmet,
Hey.
Claudius was too occupied
should.
with feasting and the reforming of the alphabet to keep an eye on court intrigue. One of his wives, Messalina, was giving women of easy virtue a run for their money in the brothels, and the other, Agrippina, poisoned Claudius with mushrooms to enthrone her son from another marriage, Nero. Nero, believing that he was a born actor, not an emperor, would later kill his own mother, and then allegedly the apostles Peter and Paul. Then he again, allegedly, set fire to
Is this
Rome
how you think
so as
her?
to read the verses on the fall of Troy during the blaze. He would accuse the first Christians of arson
I could tell from his bowl
and
haircut,
initiated their persecution.
he's a little bastard.
And finally, he took his own life. Most details of this era are known from Tacitus, a historian and senator who observed the degradation of republican institutions. Fate of the empire was now decided not so much by the Senate as by the Praetorian Guards, the emperor's personal security force, created back in the times of Augustus. These suffocated Tiberius with a cushion, slayed Caligula by the sword, and hailed Claudius emperor. In all fairness, at the same time,
that is
the
fair.
empire grew, expanding into new territories. Roman legions conquered part of Britain, where they founded a town called Londinium. Provinces were given a transparent taxation system, and
That's
the
actually
non-Roman
crazy.
nobility began to enter the Senate en masse. A grandchild of an Italian peasant, Vespasian
much
Flavius
Europe.
would become the founder of the next dynasty.
Top of
Vespasian
Africa.
and Titus, suppressing the uprising in Judea, committed
All
genocide,
from Rome.
again according to modern-day, not Roman standards, and reduced the Temple of Jerusalem to nothing but the Wailing Wall. On a lighter note, Vespasian had a jolly good Roman predisposition.
Jolly
He
good.
taxed the collectors of urine at the public toilets. And Titus, the destroyer of Jerusalem, would nevertheless obtain the title of Merciful. After a splendid triumph, he opened the Colosseum for the people. Titus would be called the love and consolation of
The
humankind.
Colosseum.
And after such festivities had
He's a
depleted the
legend.
public treasury, Vesuvius destroyed Pompeii, plague devastated half Italy,
That was
and
you?
Titus became a god.
That was you? You did the volcano? Oh my god.
The second century
He may
would
be a
go down
god.
in history as the era of the good emperors. Trajan was considered by
The
his
good
contemporaries
emperors.
the best emperor ever. Rome became a million-strong city, and the empire reached its largest extent. Rome connected her new territories via a network of
It's
paved
crazy
roads.
after all this time,
system still determines the transport
Rome
map
still
of Europe.
fucking shit up
After
and
Trajan's
spreading.
conquest, Hadrian busied himself
That's pretty
with defense,
absurd.
erecting massive fortifications in
How
Britain
all these
and
other
between the
places
Rhine and the Danube.
aren't even looking at this and they aren't uniting to fight
the first
back.
temple to be topped by a massive dome, a real architectural sensation
Oh,
of
yeah.
the day, dedicated to all the gods.
I knew
Hadrian
that.
would also include his lover among them, the young Antinius. More of his
Oh.
images have survived than of any Roman. The last
Ooh,
good
Egyptian.
emperor, the throned philosopher, Marcus Aurelius, would spend most of his reign
Oh
on
man,
military
Marcus
expeditions.
Aurelius.
In between battles, he wrote
Your son's
his
a little
manifesto
bitch.
for Stoic philosophy.
I saw Gladiator.
Meditations.
I hate your son.
It was under Marcus Aurelius' son, Commodus, that the Pax
I
Romana,
hate your
the Roman
son.
peace, came to an end. He preferred a
Oh,
gladiator's
little
glory
busy
to the
little
affairs of
bees.
state. Conspirators had the emperor strangled by a fellow fighter,
Thank
the
you.
slave Narcissus. Rome sank.
Oh,
into
I thought you were gonna
chaos.
say Maximus
The next 100 years
Aurelius.
brought a sequence of random emperors.
I know the line, but
proclaimed
I'm
by
not
the
gonna say
army,
it.
taking their turn on the throne were a liberated slave, a fortune seeker who bought the throne at an auction, General Punic Descent who would place statues of the former enemy, Hannibal all over the empire.
Side note, I
Syrian
love
priest
Gladiator.
of the sun, and a former shepherd who owed his popularity to his powerful physique. In 212, Emperor Caracalla, half North African, half Syrian, granted Roman citizenship to nearly all free subjects of the empire.
Hey,
The idea that you could be a Roman in Judea and Africa or
And
any
Rome
other
still has all
corner of
that
the
land
empire at
in
all
212?
might well be the main legacy
That's
of
crazy.
Rome still in use today.
what
By
happened to
mid-century,
you?
Rome was already in the midst of such a crisis that the whole provinces
Yeah,
were
okay.
starting to split off.
Yeah,
The Gauls, for instance, proclaimed an empire of their own.
you see, you
Order
got too
would be
much
restored
land.
By the son of a liberated slave.
You got too much
Diocletian.
land.
Having started his
One
career as a
person
soldier,
can't
he
rule
would end
that.
up an absolute monarch, an astonishing example of social mobility. Diocletian split the empire into four, with four co-rulers at four capitals,
Your first
situated
mistake.
closer to the frontier.
You can't do
Rome
that.
lost its
You're gonna lose it all.
significance. The Senate became a town council. The country was now ruled by an army of officials personally reporting to the emperor. Thus, the ancient world, centered around the concept of a free community and free citizens, came to an end. From
Yeah.
the princeps, the first senator, the emperor had become the dominus, a title by which slaves addressed their masters. The citizen became a subject, the warrior turned into
Dominus?
a soldier, and the farmer a semi-serf. Diocletian himself resigned from the post of emperor 20 years later and went off to his estate to grow cabbages.
My cabbages!
After Diocletian's departure, the co-rulers were fighting for power. Constantine, the future Saint Constantine the Great, emerging victorious. Before the crucial battle for Rome, he allegedly had a vision of a cross. After this, he made all religions equal. After 300 years of persecutions, the Christians came out of the catacombs and were now entitled to build churches alongside the temples of Augustus
Finally.
and Mars. Constantine would take the cross from Jerusalem to the new capital of the Roman Empire. Constantinople. Theodosius I would
Constantinople?
make Christianity the official
The fuck?
religion and begin
Who
to
named that
destroy
shit?
the ancient temples. He would also be the last emperor of a united Roman Empire. His sons split the empire into west and east.
Not
The
surprising.
eastern half would live another 1,000 years and is known to us as Byzantium. The western part would fall
As
victim
what?
to the great migration of peoples. Rome,
See?
founded by migrants, would fall to the onslaught of a new wave
It's
of
too big.
refugees. Ironically, the last ruler of Rome would be called Romulus.
Huh? Ironic indeed.
In modern Rome, not far from the Colosseum and the ruins of the Forum, there is a tomb. Its occupant was neither emperor nor senator, but a simple baker called Ulysses. Likely born a slave into a
Like
family
this,
of Greek
bitch.
migrants, he later entered into a bread supply contract with the capital and became so rich that he could build such a monument for himself and his wife.
Hey. Work hard,
Before
play
Rome,
hard.
in ancient Egypt and elsewhere, or after Rome during the Middle Ages, a man would die in the same station in life as he had been born in. The life and career of Ulysses is an answer to the question of how Rome was able to create a global state that lasted over 1,000 years. Do you like our video?
Yeah.
We have another one,
You do?
this time about ancient Greece. Or you can watch the shortest history of Russian art of the 20th century. We've squeezed 100 years into just 25 minutes. And that is not all.
Phenomenal job.
Subscribe to
Phenomenal job. They did that. They did a great job with that. That was fun. And I actually did learn a lot. Because I don't know shit. But yeah, I learned a lot on that. It was a good one. If you got any more you want me to watch, feel free to give them to me.